You know exactly what the vibration feels like. It's 10:45 p.m. You have just finished the dishes, or perhaps you are finally sitting down with a book you've been meaning to read for 6 months. The room is quiet, the air is still, and then the phone lights up. You don't even have to look at the name to know what it is. It is a crisis. It is a spiral. It is a wall of text from a friend, a partner, or a sibling who is, once again, standing on the precipice of their own chaotic emotions. And before you even register a conscious thought, your body reacts. There is a tightening in your solar plexus, a subtle chemical shift in your blood, a sigh that gets trapped in your throat. You are tired. You are bone deep tired. But you pick up the phone. You type, "I'm here, tell me everything." You settle into the role you were assigned before you even knew how to speak. The mediator, the fixer, the emotional garbage disposal. You are the therapist's friend. To the outside world, you are a saint. You are the rock. People tell you, "You're such a good listener," or "I don't know what I'd do without you," or "You're the only one who gets me." They feast on your empathy. They drink from your patience until the well is dry, and then they ask why there is dust in the bucket. But here is the thing that nobody sees, the secret you keep locked away in the quietest part of your mind. You are drowning. You are walking around with a mental catalog of everyone else's traumas, secrets, and fears, while your own interior life is a burning building that no one is watching. You have become a vessel for other people's pain, and in the process, you have slowly, silently evicted yourself from your own life. You feel seen only when you are needed. And when you are not needed, you feel invisible. If this resonance vibrates in your chest, if you feel a sudden urge to weep or to defend yourself, stay with me. We aren't just going to talk about boundaries today. We are going to talk about why you built this cage and how, finally, to walk out of it. Let's look at this through the lens of a character. An archetype. Let's call them the keeper. The keeper is the person in the group chat who mediates the conflict. The keeper is the child who knew exactly how heavy their mother's footsteps were, whether they signaled rage or depression before the front door even opened. This is not just a personality quirk. This is a neurobiological adaptation. For many of you, this role began in childhood through a process psychologists call parentification. This is when the roles are reversed, when the child sacrifices their own emotional needs to care for the needs of the parent or the family system. Perhaps you grew up in a home that was volatile. Chaos was the baseline. To survive, your developing brain, specifically the amygdala, the danger detector, learned a very specific equation. Safety equals utility. If I am useful, I am safe. If I can predict the emotional weather of the room and fix it, I won't be hurt. If I become the therapist, I don't have to be the child. You learn to suppress your own immediate needs to manage the external environment. This creates a state of high-functioning hypervigilance. You became an expert at reading micro-expressions. You can sense a shift in tone or a change in body language from across a crowded room. This is often praised as empathy. And it is, but it is a weaponized empathy. It is empathy born of survival, not just connection. The tragedy of the keeper is that they develop an anxious-avoidant attachment style that is perfectly camouflaged. You appear secure because you are the rock. You are the one giving the advice. But this is a mask. You avoid true intimacy by focusing entirely on the other person. Think about it. When you are listening to someone else's problems for 3 hours, analyzing their psyche, validating their feelings, where are you? You are safe behind the clipboard. You are in the position of power. You are the doctor. They are the patient. The doctor doesn't have to bleed. The doctor doesn't have to cry. The doctor is in control. So, while you feel used, while you feel exhausted by the emotional labor, there is a part of your shadow self, that hidden, unconscious part of your psyche that loves this dynamic. Because as long as you are fixing them, you don't have to look at the void inside yourself. As long as you are the strong one, you never have to risk the terror of being the weak one and finding out that perhaps no one would come to save you. That is the core fear. The therapist friend believes, deep down, that their only currency is their utility. They believe that if they stopped fixing, stopped listening, and stopped carrying the load, they would simply cease to exist to the people they love. It creates a silent, fracturing loneliness. You are surrounded by people, yet you are completely untouched. Now, I want to try something difficult. I want to turn the mirror around. We have validated your pain. We have acknowledged that you are exhausted and that your friends are often selfish. But if we stop there, you remain a victim, and you are too powerful to be a victim. We have to look at the shadow cost of being the therapist friend. There is a concept in Stoicism, and later echoed by Jung, an antiodromia. It means that eventually, everything turns into its opposite. Your extreme empathy, unchecked, turns into extreme resentment. Ask yourself this uncomfortable question. Do I actually allow people to help me? Most therapist friends will say, I would, but nobody asks, nobody notices. But is that true? Or is it that you have cultivated an aura of such invincibility, such competence, that people assume you don't need help? Here is the inversion. Your over-functioning creates their under-functioning. By constantly stepping in to regulate the emotions of your friends and family, by always having the answer, the tissue, and the psychological deconstruction ready, you are robbing them of their own agency. You are preventing them from developing their own resilience. Why should they learn to self-soothe when they have you? Why should they learn to analyze their own patterns when you do it for them for free? You become an enabler of the very chaos you claim to hate. And deep in your shadow, there is a resentment growing. It's a bitter, dark slime that coats your heart. You start to judge them. You think, why are they so messy? Why are they so weak? Why can't they just get it together like I do? You see, the saint becomes the judge. This is the trap. You are trapped in a cycle where you give until you bleed, and then you hate them for the blood on the floor. You are using this role to hide from your own messy, unanalyzed, chaotic humanity. You are terrified that if you showed up as your true self, needy, irrational, petty, unsure, ugly, that you would be rejected. So you put on the therapist's cardigan, you nod, you validate, and you slowly disappear. The therapist friend complex is not an act of service. It is a defense mechanism against vulnerability. So, how do we integrate this? How do we stop being the therapist and start being a friend? We do not need a 5-step checklist. We need a fundamental shift in identity. We need to move from fixing to witnessing. The great psychologist Carl Rogers said, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change." The shift begins with realizing that you are not responsible for the emotional regulation of other adults. Repeat that to yourself until the syntax rewires your brain. I am not the architect of their stability. 1. The practice of mirroring instead of analyzing. When someone dumps a crisis on you, your reflex is to grab your mental scalpel and start dissecting. Well, this stems from your relationship with your father, and you need to set a boundary. Stop. Instead, try simply mirroring. That sounds incredibly painful. I can see why you're angry. And then do nothing? Sit in the discomfort of not fixing it. Watch the urge to save them rise in your throat and swallow it back down. Allow them the dignity of their own struggle. You will find that often people don't want a solution. They just want a witness. Be a witness, not a mechanic. 2. Reveal the shadow. This is the terrifying part. You must begin to show your cracks. The next time you are tired, the next time you are irrational, the next time you feel petty, share it. Without polishing it first. Without framing it as a learning experience. Text your friend and say, I am having a terrible day and I just need to vent. I don't need advice. Watch who stays. This is the litmus test. The people who only loved you for your utility, who only loved the therapist, will fall away, and let them go. Let them go like leaves in the wind. But the people who love you, the messy, complex, imperfect human being beneath the persona, they will step closer. They will say, I've got you. 3. Reclaiming the inner child. Finally, you must speak to that little version of you, the one who started this whole thing. The little one who learned that to be loved, they had to be good. You need to tell them, quietly and firmly, you are off duty. You don't have to earn your seat at the table anymore. You don't have to pay rent in the form of emotional labor just to exist in the lives of others. Imagine taking off that heavy coat, the one with pockets full of everyone else's secrets, Imagine folding it up and placing it on a chair. Imagine walking out the door, light as air. True friendship is not a transaction of therapy for validation. True friendship is two nervous systems co-regulating, two broken people walking side by side, neither trying to fix the other, just keeping each other company in the dark. You are allowed to be the one who needs holding. You are allowed to not know the answer. You are allowed to just be. Put down the clipboard. Your shift is over.